Here's a question: can you have too much taxable money? Well, in our world we live in today, the question, can you have too much money, most people are going to say no. But the distinction here is, can you have too much taxable money? There's typically three types of money and how it's classified tax-wise. So can you have too much taxable money? Can you have too much traditional money? Goodness. Can you have too much Roth? Let's go over it next. Hey, this is Tommy Neesmith. I'm a financial planner at Christy Capital Management. We're helping federal employees get information they need to retire better. Today we're talking about taxable money. Before we explain exactly what taxable money is, let's go over the three different buckets that people generally have when it comes to money. We have traditional TSP or traditional IRAs, traditional 403B, or whatever traditional form of retirement money you have. This is money that you had paid in the form of a paycheck and you chose not to accept it as a paycheck, but to invest it in the retirement account. So you have not paid taxes on it yet. Instead, you took a deduction. At some point in the future, you will take out as a distribution. And that distribution, well, they'll be fully taxable at whatever your tax bracket happens to be. Then we have a Roth bucket, or Roth money, which is money where you put in after tax. You went ahead and paid the taxes, then put it into the Roth account, and it gets to grow tax-free from that point on. And as long as you wait until age 59 and a half and 5 years from having that Roth account, you can then access the growth without any penalty or taxes. All gains, that's right, are tax-free under those two rules. Lastly, there's a third bucket, and that's taxable money. This is money that you got paid, you paid taxes, it went into your checking account, and you started building up a checking account. Maybe you put that money in a money market account or some type of CD, or an investment account with Vanguard or some other fund. There are lots of different options for taxable money. Depending on the exact option you have, the growth may be taxed at your tax bracket, like with bank account interest or CDs. It may be taxed based on the capital gains rate that you have. If you have some stocks or mutual funds and they go up in value and you sell them, you have to pay capital gains on the growth. If you do that within 1 year and have short-term capital gains, then you have to pay your tax bracket's tax rate. If you do it after 1 year, you have what's called a long-term capital gain tax. And that's a little better, but at any rate, it's still taxable. So as you're accumulating money for retirement, these are the three buckets you get to use. Can you have too much in the taxable bucket? I would argue that the answer to that is yes. If you think of the different attributes of these accounts, it makes sense to me that the Roth account, the tax-free forevermore account, is the account that you would love to have all your money. And if you could just wave a magic wand and have all your money in the Roth, well, that would be great. There are benefits to that. The problem is that you can't do it that way. There's no magic wand. So are there ideal balances to have in traditional accounts? Well, we think there are. Generally speaking, a taxable account is a great place to have your emergency fund. Liquid money that you can get your hands on pretty quickly. If that account starts accumulating too high, to whatever too high means to you, there may be some planning involved where you can start maxing out a Roth IRA, if you're eligible to do that. You could max out Roth TSP, if you can do that. You can do Roth conversions and pay the taxes out of the taxable account. There are some tax advantages of traditional money and Roth money that the taxable bucket does not have. So starting to shift money from taxable bucket to those retirement buckets can make sense tax-wise. In a similar way, can you have too much in the traditional bucket? And I would argue you can. The traditional bucket gets to grow tax-deferred, which is great, but at some point, required minimum distributions kick in when you're required to take a distribution, and that distribution is taxable. We work on lots of financial blueprints for people where we show them at age 75 when their RMD kicks in. There are really large distributions that are required, and it can move you up the tax bracket. Some federal retirees can live off their pension, Social Security, and a spousal Social Security. If that's you, then your traditional bucket is going to keep accumulating all the growth over all the years as you head toward RMD age. Whether you're 73 or 75, you'll have to start taking out around 4% of the balance of that account. Sometimes that can come out to where you're having to take out $80,000 plus a year. Imagine your tax situation when you're forced to take out a really large amount that you don't need for your personal spending. It moves you right up on the tax bracket, and you don't have any control over it. That's why I argue that you can have too much traditional money. Now, in a Roth account, can you have too much? I would argue that you probably could not have too much there. In a perfect world, you may want to shift the money there to have all the accumulation go to the Roth side because of the benefits that are there. So back to the main question. Can you have too much taxable money? I've already said I think you can. So what can you do about it? You can max out your contributions to TSP. If that means that you need to live off some of the money that you have in your taxable account so that you can max out the other, then you may want to do that. If you've maxed out your TSP, then see if you can max out a Roth IRA for you and your spouse. There are some income limits that may stop you from doing that. You also have an option of doing a properly structured life insurance policy where you put extra money in that for the minimum premium. There are ways of setting that up where you can capture some tax advantage growth and you're also getting a death benefit that would also double as long-term care. Just remember, when we're talking life insurance, you are purchasing it for the death benefit, but there are some advantages to certain types of policies as it relates to taxation. If you have a bunch of taxable money and don't know where to put it, life insurance may be an option for you. The main takeaway here is to realize that there are 3 different buckets of money that have good points and bad points for each. You have the option of accumulating money in the bucket of your choice. It may be a good idea to plan this out better and not just save your money willy-nilly in any old type of account that typically doesn't work out well long term. If you're thinking that you should have more Roth, but you're wondering if it's too late, then check out this video right here. Is it too late to start Roth TSP? If you need help with your federal retirement, go to ChristyCapital.com, click Talk to an Advisor. If you want to sign up for one of our webinars, go to ChristyCapital.com/webinar. My name is Tommy Neesmith. Talk to you next time.